So, when was the last time that you actually went to go watch a movie in the theaters? Now, for me, honestly, I can't remember the last time that I actually went to go watch a movie in the theaters. And back in the day, I used to go to the movies quite a bit. And, well, it kind of makes me sad that I can't even remember when was the last time that I went to go watch a movie in the theaters nowadays. And this is something that I think all of us are familiar with, especially if you grew up in the days where you would go to the theaters a lot. And so I kind of wanted to talk about some of my reasons why myself and I think most people don't go to the theaters anymore. Starting with the most obvious one. So let's go ahead and get this ticket for Jurassic World Rebirth. I don't know which movie it is in the series, but there's a lot of them. I don't know which one is the most expensive, but I think the Dolby Cinema is the regular one. So let's go ahead and choose this. And then choose a seat. And we'll see how much this costs. So at least here, we're looking at $26 for an adult, $23 for a child, and $24 for a senior. And that's for one person. And then if you get a large popcorn and two large drinks, that's $26.37. Wow. So just for one person, a large popcorn and two drinks, you're looking probably with tax and everything about $60. That's insane. Now, if you had more than one person, which most people do, they bring somebody with them, just double that. And then if you have a family with kids, well, the sky's the limits on that. It could be triple, 4, or 5 times depending upon how many people that you have in your family. And then when you add the snacks and drinks and everything else, it could easily get into the hundreds of dollars range. And that is simply going to crush a lot of people. And so I think that is probably the number one biggest reason why most people don't go in the theaters anymore because, well, it is expensive, especially if you have a family. And then the second reason, at least for me, is there's not as many movies in the theaters that I actually want to see, to be honest with you. And that goes into the whole trend, or it's not even a trend anymore. This is just how entertainment is nowadays. More and more money is being pumped into these streaming services. And so less money is spent on these big theatrical movies, which leads to the other thing is that, well, it costs a ton of money to make movies nowadays. I mean, over $100 million is like normal nowadays, especially for these bigger ones where they could reach $200, $300 million when you include marketing and everything else. And so it gets super, super expensive for these movies to be produced. A lot of these studios, they really have to be selective on which movies they produce and where they distribute them. And so that's a huge cost to the people making the movies. And then the other thing, and this is probably one of the biggest things for a lot of people, is that, well, why go to the theaters when you could just wait a little bit and then it's going to show up on your streaming services? And that is probably for most younger people, for the generation that did not go into theaters, that's probably what they're used to. And then for people in my generation who are used to going to the theaters, I'll probably just wait because it's going to be out on streaming services anyway. And, well, that leads to the obvious thing is these streaming services. There's just tons of them. They have limitless amounts of content and a lot of money is invested in these. And so you see a lot more films, shows coming out purely on streaming services and not to theaters. And honestly, they're really good quality in my opinion. Some are really excellent. And there's a larger variety than what you would get in the movie theaters. And so all of those things combined really makes it hard for me to choose to go to the theater as my first option. And then the last thing, and this is more of a personal thing, is it's just a lot more convenient and comfortable for me to watch it at home, versus going to the theaters. And with most people doing that, and a lot of people don't mind just watching it at home, it does make a big difference, that convenience factor, especially if you have a family, a lot of children. It is just a huge, huge hassle. So those are just some of my thoughts on theaters and why I really don't go to them anymore as much as I used to love going there. And plus, that's where things are at, and I don't think it's going to be changing anytime soon. And who knows how much longer these theater experiences will be around. And I really do love the theaters. I think that's the best way to see a movie. But at the end of the day, the best way doesn't always mean the most convenient and comfortable way to see a movie. And of course, the most cost effective way. So if you actually had any thoughts on this, be sure to leave in the comments here below. And I'll see you on another episode.